Won't you celebrate with me what I have shaped into a kind of life? I had no model. Born both non-white and woman, what did I see to be except myself? I made it up here on this bridge between starshine and clay, my one hand holding tight my other one hand. Won't you celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed? I love that poem by Lucille Clifton. It helps to remind me that I'm not crazy. Things are trying to kill me every day, and they are failing. Some of the things that have tried to kill me are the things that you would think. Like one time I was walking down Arapahoe Avenue, and a white man who was high on something, called me the N-word and came walking directly toward me, and I knew that he intended to hurt me. But I put my head down and said, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." The time that a man that I loved called me the same name. The time they put my brother in prison. How it became normal for me to see black men being murdered by police on the television. These are the things that you would expect to try and kill me. Racism with a capital R, trauma with a capital T. But my body and mind know what to do with things that you can see and things that you can point to. Some of the other things that have tried to kill me are not what you would think. They are things that some people consider little or inconsequential. Like when I was around 7 years old, my mom came home with a white Cabbage Patch Kid doll and a black Cabbage Patch Kid doll, and I chose the white one. Like I said, I was only 7, but it took me another 25 years to even begin to understand that. I remember I was around the same age and we went to a gas station, and my mom paid for the gas, but when she turned on the car, the needle didn't move. So she didn't know if she'd gotten the gas or not. And I'm sure the conversation started calmly, but what I remember is that at some point she was screaming, "Go ahead, call the cops. Go ahead, call the cops." And I didn't know what was going on. I was scared and confused and embarrassed because paying for gas and not knowing if you've gotten it seems like such a little thing. A couple weeks ago, I was driving my son to school. His name is Zen, he's almost 4. And we stopped at a stop sign, and a big pickup truck comes, driven by a white man, and he has a stop sign, but he doesn't stop, and I start going, and he guns it, and he almost hits us. And I have to brake, and I'm shaken, and I'm scared, and I'm angry. And I keep saying, but it wasn't his turn. But it wasn't his turn. Why do I have to play by the rules, but he doesn't? And I know you might not think that road rage is racist, but how many times have you had a white man screaming at you in your car so close you can see his breath and spit on your window? These are little things. Like the fact that I've always had a romantic, heteronormative fantasy of getting married, of walking down the aisle and looking the man I love in his eyes. But everyone I've ever loved is married to someone else who isn't me and who is not black. Everyone wants me to stay in my place, but I don't know where that is, because right now it's right here and it's this big. But 2 weeks ago, it was over there and it was this big. And a week ago, it was over there. And 2 weeks from now, I don't know where it will be. All I know is that people want me to stay there, and I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I can. Maybe you can feel it. Maybe it's starting to add up. You can feel it in your body, these little things. How the straws of racism and sexism are eating Black women from the inside out. They call it weathering. The stress is accelerating our aging internally. Black women are more likely to suffer from depression. They're more likely to be obese. They're more likely to have high blood pressure. They're more likely to have a stroke, more likely to die while giving birth, more likely to die of heart disease, more likely to die of cancer. And this is not okay. It's not okay that for an hour or more after I had that traffic incident, I replayed it over and over in my head, and I couldn't stop, and I couldn't be present with my child, and I couldn't be present at work. He basically stole an hour from my life. And it's not okay that this is happening to Black women every day. But this is not new news. This is old news, but it's still bad news. But there is some good news. So for the past couple of weeks, I've been studying the science of stress. And what I found out from a woman by the name of Kelly McGonigal, who did a TED Talk and wrote a book called The Upside of Stress, is that how we think about stress actually impacts how it affects our bodies. And so if we think that stress is killing us, then it's actually more likely to kill us. But if we think and if we believe that stress is actually a training ground for greatness, that every time we rise to the occasion of a stressful experience, we're actually becoming more confident, more powerful, and more resilient, then that's what will happen. Because the effect that we expect is the effect that we get. So, I want to ask Black women specifically to think about stress differently. To start thinking that stress is not happening to you, but it's happening for you. Because we're not going to be able to change, at least not today, right now, all of the systems of oppression that are operating against us. But we can take some power in the effect that they have on us. One of the cool things that I found out when I was doing this research is that if you make a conscious choice that you're going to meet a stressful experience and use it for your benefit, then a neurosteroid called DHEA is released in your brain. And like it sounds, DHEA is actually how we learn from stressful experiences. It actually changes our brain so that the next time a stressful experience happens, we have more choice in how we're going to respond to it. It literally is the idea that that which is not killing us is making us stronger. Here's something else really cool that I found out. Most of the time when we're stressed because we care about something that's bigger than ourselves. We tend to be stressed because we care about our children, or we care about our family, or we care about our friends. Or sometimes we're stressed because we care about something bigger, like the environment, or justice, or equity, or love. And when we're stressed out because we care about something, our body activates a system called the tend and befriend system. And there's this curious cocktail of neurochemicals that gets released: oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin. So we basically get the gift of superpowers. We become less self-centered and more likely to put ourselves in an uncomfortable or threatening situation on behalf of others. Our fear response is inhibited, so we become more courageous. We become more attuned to the environment around us, so we can actually sense what's needed to make a positive change, and we become more motivated to do it and more hopeful and optimistic that when we do it, it's gonna turn out positively for everyone involved. So to me, those sound like superpowers. And I have experienced this. I have made conscious decisions over time that I am not going to respond to microaggressions and other things that are meant to harm me in a way that diminishes my power, but I'm actually gonna rise to meet the occasion in a way that is powerful. I remember at Naropa, both in my cohort and in many incidents that happened after I graduated, being in rooms with people who had more power than I did, and where microaggressions and racism and sexism were flying all around the room. And even when I was shaking and when I had tears and when I didn't know what was gonna come out of my mouth, I started practicing speaking truth into those spaces and speaking truth to power. And the first time, it almost killed me. But I did it again and again and again. So now, I have an inner superhero, and I'm giving her a name. And she lives in me, and she lives in every Black woman. I call her the alchemist. And just like a peacock, she can digest anything and turn it into beauty. She can take in poison that is meant to kill her and transmute it into medicine. She can suck venom from her wounds and turn it into life-giving wisdom. She can see facial microexpressions from a mile away and see through deception. She can read between the lines and see beyond appearances. I can turn my tongue into a razor blade. I can cut through bullshit. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say, and I can cut anyone down to size. My inner mama bear is Black, brown, and grizzly, so you better not mess with my children. I have full access to the strength and power of my ancestors. But more than all of that, I can laugh, I can rest, I can dance, I can play. I can ask my friends for help and support because I'm protecting my heart. I'm protecting it from being cruel, from being resentful, from being vengeful, and from bitterness so that I can love and live my life fully. And after all that I've told you about all of the things that are trying to kill me every day, there is nothing more heroic than that.